Hey guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to talk about some meaningful things right now that have to do with the COVID-19. So we're going to talk about the spiritual aspect, and we're also going to talk about the medical aspect. And let's start off a little bit with the anxiety and fear people are experiencing. Gabe, tell us a little bit about where you're at. You're a pastor at LightHouse. How are you helping be there for your congregants during this time of anxiety and this time of fear?
I think it's really important just to be there for them as close as we can be, you know, with all the warnings that we've been, the advice that we've been receiving. Obviously, we can't see each other face to face. So praise God for things like this, where we can see each other and virtually and connect and on the phone or whatever it may be. And I think that's the most important thing. And I think right now, the thing that's helping us the most is just praying for each other, connecting, calling each other, praying for each other.
So how about social isolation? Should we be going places like the beach? Should we be traveling abroad? Checking out. Well, what do you think we should be doing?
Honestly, I think we should genuinely just be following the rules of what the advice people have been giving us. You know, when they tell us don't meet more than 10, try not to meet more than 10 people. You know, if, you know, obviously there's things that we have to do. Like, for example, we have to go to, you know, the grocery store, and there's tons of people there, you know, in and out, just go in and out. And then just try to stick to your family and to the people that are around you.
And don't take all the toilet paper, please.
Do not take
Yes, please don't take all the toilet paper. And Dr. Jason, this question is more so for you. So on social media, there's a lot of questions being posed, and you know, Adventists are all about the health message, but sometimes we become a little over enthusiastic at sharing things, and I feel like a lot of misinformation has been shared. I'm going to give you one example. Someone posted on Facebook that as long as you gargle vinegar and you also drink a lot of hot water, drink a lot of hot teas, that the coronavirus cannot live within your throat, and therefore you will be saved from this dilemma. Is that true, Dr. Jason?
Well, I'm glad that, you know, we have this opportunity to talk about this serious disease. Let me go ahead and just say this. You know, COVID-19, what that stands for is coronavirus disease 2019. That's when it was found and diagnosed. That's why it's called COVID-19. So if you hear me say COVID or COVID-19, it's referring to the coronavirus.
Okay.
First of all, there are many different strains of coronavirus, just not COVID-19. Just this past week, please don't get scared. I've been exposed to 3 different patients who had 3 different coronavirus strains.
And that's why we're live streaming. That's why we're talking, not in person.
That's why. I guess I should be wearing my mask too. But the point is that these viruses have been around for a long time, and they are very contagious. And specifically for COVID-19, it's the real deal. I mean, no joke. You know, I know we're laughing, having fun, but it is dangerous. It is contagious. And, you know, there's already been, I think the last statistic I saw, there was like close to 12,000 deaths worldwide. And in the United States alone, I think it's like close to like almost 300 deaths. Maybe it's like 275 or something like that. But with all of that said, COVID-19 isn't the end all. I don't know if people have looked this up, but do you know how many deaths there have been in the United States alone with influenza? Any guesses out there?
Want to go first, Zeke?
So just looking at the statistics, okay? Current numbers say it's over 20,000 Americans have died from influenza.
Wow. Just this year, or
just this year alone?
Oh wow, my guess was a complete guess.
Just this year alone. You know, they anticipate anywhere between 20 to 60,000 Americans will die worldwide. Wow. It's estimated that like 650,000, give or take, maybe more. 650. This is reported, okay? Wow. 650,000 deaths from influenza. In the United States alone, we've treated over 25 million people with the flu. with the coronavirus, I forgot what the number is, but worldwide, like it's 200,000 to 300,000 cases.
And,
so go ahead.
And we've been hearing numbers like this, all over social media. And I guess my question is, some people have been arguing, in ratio and how fast this virus is progressing is the difference between the flu and coronavirus. And that's the difference, is how fast it's progressing, how fast it's getting to people.
I think so a lot of it has to do with your ability to know what your N number, what your denominator is. For example, hey little Gabriel.
Little Gabriel.
So part of understanding too is knowing what your denominator is. We are able to diagnose more cases of flu. So that way, when you have actual deaths or people infected, so let's say we diagnose 100 cases of flu, okay? And then 5 people die from the flu. That's like a 5% death rate, correct? But what if with the coronavirus, we diagnose 20 patients with coronavirus, but then 5 people die from the coronavirus? Then what is your death rate? It's 25%. So therefore, understanding what the coronavirus, what is the actual cases. So now the world and United States have gotten more coronavirus detection kits. So you're going to actually see the amount of our diagnosed cases will shoot up because we're able to detect it more. And then I think at the end of the season, then we'll really see how it really compares. But I'm not trying to minimize coronavirus at all, because it's the real deal. I mean, if you get it and you are immunocompromised, or if you have lung problems, it could be very dangerous. But I do want to emphasize, the majority of patients, the majority of people who get coronavirus will get better. Over 80%. It's the same thing with the flu. The majority of people who get influenza will get better. The reason why we need to do all these precautions, with the hand washing, the social distancing, don't touch your eyes, your face, your mouth, is to protect that minority. Because isn't that what the Bible tells us to do? I mean, the Bible has said stuff, true religion is when you take care of the widows and the kids. Now, it's not just for widows and kids, it's for any vulnerable population. And in this case, our vulnerable population with COVID are the elderly, people with respiratory problems like asthma, COPD, emphysema, people with serious cardiac conditions, or, immunocompromised state, like if you're on chemotherapy or if you have cancer. So that's one of the things, one of the myths I kind of want to debunk is it is the real deal, but it's not the end all. I mean, the real end all is if you don't have Jesus in your life. That's the real end all, man.
Yeah. That I think brings me to something that's really important. When you mentioned that it's the vulnerable in society, in the commandment, thou shalt not kill, it's framed in the Hebrew word, where the Hebrew word encompasses also, you should not murder by neglect. And in the Old Testament, this manifested itself several different ways. One of the ways is that a lot of the roofs on the homes were flat, and people would sleep on the roof at night. So one of the Old Testament laws is that you have to put a fence around your roof. And that was like a law that was really strong. And it was something that was specific in the Old Testament. Now, we don't have to put fences around our roofs now, but why? Why is this law so important? Well, it had to do with thou shalt not kill, because people would sleep on the roof because it was the coolest spot to sleep. But at night, you don't see anything. Let's say you have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. Yeah, we've all been there where we're walking to the bathroom, we're trying to stumble across the dark, and then we hit our toe against something, and that's really hurts. The problem back then is that they would actually fall off the roofs and kill themselves. It wasn't just bumping their toe. They would go completely down. So the fence would prevent them. And that law specifically was to help keep people safe. There's another law that also said that if your bull was known to be dangerous and you did not take care of it, if you left it go out and do crazy things, that anything your bull did, you would be responsible for. Yeah. So it was a manifestation of the way that law, thou shalt not kill, was part of their Old Testament time. So how does that relate to us? I think that taking proper precautions, maybe if it's not for you, maybe you're young, maybe you're healthy, maybe you don't have any health compromises that might endanger you, but maybe those around you do. So being neglectful in the way that you treat this disease shows a big part of how you actually express faith. Because if you don't care about those that are vulnerable around you, then you literally are breaking that commandment. You are killing because you're going out and you're being neglectful of that. I think it's really important. Gabe, would you want to elaborate on any of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, you got to be looking out for each other. We have to be looking out for each other, just, you know, making sure everyone's taken care of. I mean, just like in any sense, we would visit somebody at the hospital and we wish that they were feeling better. What if we could prevent them from being in the hospital? What if we could prevent them from being in that situation? And that's pretty much what it is. You know, when we see the news and we see everything going on and, you know, spring breakers still going out, you know, people still going out doing, not following the rules. I mean, it kind of sucks seeing that happen. And I wish it didn't, but we really got to be looking out for each other. That, you know. So I wanted to go back and ask you a question, Dr. J.
Sure.
So pretty much what you're saying in the last comment we were talking about the progression of, in comparison the flu to coronavirus, it all has to do with numbers, is what you're saying. We just don't have the right numbers.
Well, okay, so again, I don't want to minimize the deadliness of coronavirus. It definitely is deadly. And this is just my opinion. It's not the opinion of the hospital or opinion of the CDC. This is just my opinion. I think one death is too many.
Right.
But you also have to put it all into context. Like I said, we have treated over 25, 30, maybe 40 million people in this United States with the flu. So we have more numbers, we have more data out there to show how deadly it is. Coronavirus, it's called COVID-19 for a reason, because this is the newest kid on the block. And, you know, we have no vaccine for it. We have no evidence-based treatment for it. There's a lot of stuff out there on how to treat it. But really the good news is that if you were to contract it, statistically, the majority of us will get better. I mean, I hate to say this part, you know, because I would never want anyone to get COVID. But in a sense, I'm kind of glad that we've had these celebrities have contract this disease. People like Tom Hanks, Rudy Gobert, Kevin Durant, you know, some people who've had no symptoms, because then you can see, yeah, okay, they contracted it, but look at how well they're coming along. I mean, those who have died from it, it's because they've had some underlying, the majority have underlying condition, and the underlying condition was some kind of respiratory problem. I did want to say, you know, even though we may not have like a vaccine or an antibiotic for it, like with the flu, we have like some type of antiviral antibiotic for it. COVID, we do not yet, but there are things we can do to be socially aware, to be socially appropriate, and to protect ourselves. Number one, do you know why they tell us not to touch our eyes, our mouth, our nose when we're out in public? It's because COVID or the coronaviruses, they live in droplets. They live in secretions, all right? So let's just say, God forbid, I get COVID-19, okay? I get COVID-19 because I'm taking care of patients, I'm exposed, I do this, or I start picking food out of my mouth, I don't wash my hands, then I touch a doorknob, okay? And then maybe about 30 minutes later, Zeke not knowing what's going on, he touches the same, Zeke touches the same doorknob. Now, while that, and then it's on his skin, the coronavirus is on his skin. As long as he has intact skin with no open lesions or sores, he will not contract the coronavirus. But once he starts doing this with the coronavirus on his hand, we have now exchanged fluids. We have now exchanged secretions. So that puts Pastor Zeke at risk of contracting it. That's why you don't want to be touching your eye, your mouth, because it's secretions, because of the mucous membranes. You know, there should be no fluid transfer. That's why when you're out there, kissing or whatever, you know, wherever there's fluid exchange, and, you know, I'll let your imagination go from there, okay? But that's why you wash your hands. Washing your hands is the best thing. Hand sanitizers, you know, that helps too. But the best is hand washing. Don't touch your face. The other thing too of social responsibility. If you are sick, please stay home.
Yeah.
Whether you have COVID or the flu or your regular rhinovirus cold, stay home, because you are infecting other people when you cough or you sneeze. I hate to admit this, especially on social media, but sometimes when I talk or when I sing or when I get really excited, I tend to spray things. Instead of saying it, I tend to spray it, So
No wonder
if
people
I'm
don't
sick,
sit in the front row.
yeah, I know. Don't sit in the front row at Vineyard when I'm doing praise music. So if I'm sick, I need to be socially responsible and stay home. And then some other quick things, because I'm sorry to be taking up so much time.
No, that's important.
Some other things too. You talked about like the vinegar water and gargling with salt and all that stuff. This is what will help prevent you from getting COVID. All right. You guys writing this down? Get ready, because this is real important stuff. I'm going to give you the keys to protect yourself from COVID. Number one, okay, we talked about proper hygiene. Number two, if you're sick, stay home. The other things, and this is where our church can really shine. If you smoke, stop. If you vape, stop. Okay? Anything that will cause problems to your lungs, that will cause respiratory issues, that will predispose you to COVID. All right, that's what we're seeing, a lot of people being on ventilators because they go into respiratory distress. So if you smoke, if you vape, or I guess you have some occupational hazards where you're exposed to a lot of smoke and dust, but wear a mask or something, but reduce your risk of lung damage. The other things too that all of us can do, generally speaking, and it's going to depend for each adult, we should be drinking close to 60 ounces of water every day. Water, not coffee, not tea, not soda, which all have water. I'm talking about straight up water. Okay. You like alkaline water? Fine. If you want to put a little Crystal Light in it, fine. You want to squeeze it with lemon? Fine. But water, okay? About 60 ounces of water every day. And the other things too, eating healthy. Eating plenty of fruit and vegetable, 4 to 5 different fruit, 4 to 5 different vegetable. And then the last thing too that we should be emphasizing is getting proper exercise. So a lot of reasons why, like these NBA players who have contracted like Donovan Mitchell, he was positive for coronavirus, and he had no symptoms, none whatsoever. Well, it's because he's an athlete, man, because he takes care of his body. He eats right, he exercises. So if you really want to reduce your risk, and even if you were to contract corona, cousin COVID, no, we won't call him cousin COVID. If you want to reduce your risk of corona, live a healthy lifestyle, which is in our Bible and which is part of our church guidelines too.
That's right.
Well, yeah. Well, thank you so much, guys, for participating in this. We just have a couple minutes left. I think that one of the things that Dr. Jason mentioned that's really important is that this is a small picture of anxiety and fear, but don't let it disarm your greater picture, which is your trust in God and Jesus. Now,
Amen.
Your trust in God and Jesus should never keep you from taking all the preventative measures, washing your hands, social distancing. It should not do that. But what it should do is it should keep you from having fear paralyze you from completely doing anything. I think that a lot of the times what we see now is people fighting in the stores over toilet paper, over soap and all that. If there's something that could take away you acting like Jesus, then it goes to show that Jesus was never truly the Lord that you worship. So coronavirus should never take you away from being a good person. Should never take that away from you. And if fear and anxiety is completely paralyzing you from being this, then you have to really recheck your relationship with God and your relationship with Jesus. Because at the end of the day, as the song goes, though the world seems off so wrong, God is the ruler yet. This is our Father's world, and I think that we have to just keep on trusting him every step of the way, but not at the expense of saying that faith makes up for all our preventative measures. That's not what true faith is. As a matter of fact, someone posted online, I don't know if you guys have seen this, it said, closing down churches for this coronavirus isn't Revelation 13. It's actually Leviticus 13. So act like 1 Corinthians 13 and let Romans 13 do its work.
Amen.
So in Leviticus 13 is where they isolate the person that's diseased. They have them go and go outside of the camp. 1 Corinthians 13 is a love chapter where we express love to our neighbor, and Romans 13 talks about government and its responsibility and how we should allow it to be used by God to handle its work. So those are all important facets. I think that this is an important time where honestly Christians could really shine, where we could show how faith could be meaningless if we don't take care of ourselves and take care of the community around us, or we could show how faith actually empowers us to be able to deal with a crisis like this. I think that that's super important. Is there something else you guys would like to say, Gabe or Dr. J, before we close off?
Yeah, I have one more thing I want to just emphasize. You know, I know I said a lot of different things, and we talked a whole bunch of stuff here, but just kind of to reemphasize what you said, Pastor Zeke, I think it is important that we practice vigilance, not fear.
Yeah.
You know, practice prudence, but don't be paralyzed, because there is no fear in love, and God is love.
I like that. Any last words, Gabe? Oh, wait, let me unmute you real quick. I just heard mute noise in the background, so I had muted you.
All right, there we go. Sorry about that, guys.
No, you're good. You're good.
No, I just wanted, man, that hits home right there. You know, we can't practice fear, you know, and I feel like in these times we really see the difference. We really see what have we been cultivating this entire time when everything has been going great, right? When everything's been going smooth and it's been very comfortable, what have we been cultivating? And in times like these, we really see in people, you know, what they have in their heart. And you can see fear. You can see anxiety. But then in some people, you can see peace. You can see that strength. You can see Christ reigning in them. And it's like, wow, when time comes, when these crises come, what are we really, what have we been really cultivating? What are we really showing? So, you know, I just want to, you know, encourage everyone, when this passes, you know, let's continue to seek Christ. Let's continue to connect with him.
All right. That sounds great, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that we all stay safe out there. This is something that's gonna be posted on social media, just so you guys know. And, but yeah, I hope you guys take care, and definitely. God bless. Thank you so much for joining us.
Awesome.
Amen. Happy Sabbath. God bless.
Happy Sabbath, guys.
Yep.